For the latest, we're joined by our international affairs editor, Philip Turle. Philip, tell us more about this former banker, soon to be president.
Well, as you said in your introduction, Eve, this is certainly third time lucky for Guillermo Lasso. He's tried twice already to become president of Ecuador without any luck back in 2013 and 2017. And this time round, he's managed to pull it off. So I'll give you those results. These are the latest ones we have for you from the National Electoral Council. After 93.1% is counted. So Guillermo Lasso is given 52.51%, and his closest rival, Andres Aruz, 47.49%. So Guillermo Lasso says he is now a liberal and a free market advocate, and he's pledged to shift away from leftist policies by attracting increased foreign investment, increasing oil production. You have to remember that Ecuador is highly dependent on oil, and that has been damaged by the fall in price of crude oil. He wants to introduce tax cuts for businesses and to increase the minimum wage and create 2 million jobs. So all in all, Eve, quite an ambitious project for the new president.
Indeed, I imagine there's quite a few challenges on the road ahead for Guillermo Lasso.
Yeah, and the biggest one I think he has to face is the coronavirus. There were protests last year, you may remember, in Ecuador about the government response to the coronavirus pandemic and the slow vaccine rollout. Now, there are 17.5 million people in the country. It is planned by the government to inoculate 60% of them. There's so far been over 17,000 deaths. But the worst thing about Ecuador, it has the lowest test rate of any of its neighbors. So it may appear to be doing slightly better. But, for example, there are 10 times fewer people being tested for coronavirus in Ecuador than some of their neighbors like Chile, for example. So the actual number of cases is expected to be a lot higher. Now, coupled with that, of course, is the problem of the economy and unemployment, because the coronavirus pandemic has badly affected the employment rate in Ecuador. Only 3 out of every 10 Ecuadorians has a full-time job, and unemployment has doubled in the first 9 months of 2020. So that is one of the major problems that the new president is going to have to come to grips with. Coupled with that is poverty and extreme poverty, which have grown to levels not seen in more than a decade. And one other thing I think the president is going to have to come up against, as far as protests are concerned, pretty quickly, is his human rights record. He's a staunch anti-abortion defender, and feminist organizations say they're ready to fight against his opposition to decriminalizing abortion in the case of rape. And one other thing, which is, I think, a more general feeling in many Latin American countries, is there's high voter lethargy in Ecuador. And although he has won these elections, this is not a stamp of approval for what Guillermo Lasso is going to do, because many people say they're far more concerned about their everyday lives, about how they're going to make ends meet, than with politics. And up until the election yesterday, the second round, nearly 30% of Ecuadorians said they didn't know who they were going to vote for and may even stay at home and would prefer a fine for not voting, because voting is legal in the country, it's obligatory. They would say they prefer to stay at home and not vote because they didn't really know who to vote for. So this is not a stamp of approval for the new president. And I think that is also going to be a challenge for him in the months and years to come.
Okay, Philip, for now, thanks indeed. Philip Turle, our international affairs editor.